You're not just paying for design. You're not just hiring someone to make things look pretty. You're hiring someone who can guide you strategically and help you make thoughtful decisions for your business.
Welcome to Duo On Air, where we help you get seen, remembered, and wildly obsessed over by your audience. We're your hosts, Abby
and Courtney, a pair of ex-agency besties who ditched the cubicles, the Minneapolis skyways, and the corporate jargon for work that matters with people who inspire us every day. Today, we're a women-powered marketing agency serving brands worldwide, bringing those big agency results without the corporate price tag.
Around here, it's all about what actually grows your business: branding, SEO, websites, and navigating the real-life ups and downs of building a dream while raising tiny humans. We're moms, wives, and best friend business partners in the trenches with you, making the hard stuff feel easy and a whole lot more fun.
So pour a fresh cup, get comfy, because you're exactly where you need to be.
Let's duo this.
Welcome back to the Duo On Air podcast. This is episode number 220, and today we're taking you a little bit behind the scenes of what our branding clients get that DIYers don't see. So today it's just Court, your branding expert, and I'm really excited to kind of take you through the process of what we do for our branding clients that somebody who is interested in branding or has done their own branding, is a little bit of a DIYer, might not know or understand or realize that they get when they work with a brand agency. So DIY branding has never been more accessible than it is now. We have Canva, we have Pinterest, we have templates, we have AI, we have all of these things that can really help the DIYer, which is great. Honestly, there's nothing wrong with DIY when you're first getting started, but it is a little bit of a sticking point sometimes, because obviously when we DIY things, if we're not the expert, typically it's not going to be as good or bring you the results that you're looking for from your brand and what you are trying to sell, whether it's services or products. So today I want to pull back that curtain on what clients are actually getting when they invest in professional branding, because as we have said before, time and time again, and I'm sure you've heard it from other agencies if you follow other branding agencies, but your brand is so much more than a logo, so much more than a logo. So this isn't anti-DIY. I'm not going to sit here and just crush anybody's dreams out there who has either done DIY or is considering DIY, because we understand that everybody has to start somewhere. It really is about understanding the difference between making something look nice versus building a strategic brand designed for long-term growth, right? We want something that is strategic, that is built for long-term growth, that is going to grow with you, work hard for you, not just something that looks nice. Anyone can make anything pretty. Ask Abby. I know she's not on this episode with me, but she makes some really great Canva birthday invites. And I've always thought her invites are really cute. And granted, she might start from a template or something, but it's kind of that idea that like anybody can make something pretty, but building a brand that makes people feel something, makes them remember you, makes them trust you, that takes strategy. That is more than just pretty visuals. It's the strategy backed behind those visuals. So one of the biggest things our clients get is access to us, to our brand expert, right? You're not just paying for design. You're not just hiring someone to make things look pretty. You're hiring someone who can guide you strategically and help you make thoughtful decisions for your business. A huge part of our job is helping clients understand why certain creative directions make sense for their goals, their audience, their long-term vision, all of those things. Sometimes that could mean refining an idea that they have. Sometimes it means presenting options they may not have ever considered yet. We do this quite often where we present options that the client maybe doesn't think about prior to working with us, or maybe thinks, I'm in XYZ industry, I have to be professional, I have to be clean. I can't have a fun tone or a fun voice or anything bright and loud. And that's not necessarily true. Sometimes it's helping clients step back and look at their brand from a perspective of their audience instead of just a personal preference, right? Sometimes our clients have personal preferences, but really at the end of the day, we're serving our audience. We're not serving ourselves, right? So we have to be comfortable in our own brand, but we also have to make sure that the people that we're serving are also comfortable with that brand. brand. Because there's such a difference between I really love this aesthetic and this direction is going to communicate the right message for my business, right? We're making sure that the direction from a brand perspective is communicating that right message. Honestly, both of these matter: the aesthetic, the right message, the strategy. And we want our clients to love their brand visually, but we also want the brand to work hard and work for them strategically. So when we're working with our clients, that means we're thinking about things like audience perception, differentiation, scalability, emotional connection, accessibility, SEO, longevity. All of these things are things that we're thinking about when we're working with our clients. We're not just thinking about your colors. We're not just thinking about that end logo. We're making sure that this has an emotional connection with your audience, that your brand is accessible online, that your brand has longevity, that your brand has keywords infused into it. Even when it comes to taglines and stuff, we think through that for your brand from an SEO perspective. We're not just designing for what's trending right now. We're designing for where your business is headed in the next 3 to 5 years. And I think that's one of the biggest differences between DIY branding and strategic branding. DIY branding often focuses on what can I put together quickly so I can launch, so I can get this brand going. There's so many people out there that are so eager to launch their businesses, which is so great. That means you have so much passion, and that means you're really excited about your brand and the business that you're creating. But they skip that crucial step of really focusing on building that brand the right way, right away. And again, we get that you have to start somewhere. Sometimes you just have to DIY your brand to get things going. But professional branding asks, how do we build something cohesive, memorable, and scalable that supports the future of the business? That is really the big differentiator between DIY and professional branding. So the next thing that you might not see that we give to our branding clients is that our process is incredibly intentional. Another thing DIYers don't see or get is how much work happens before we ever touch design. We don't just jump into the pretty visuals right away. Sometimes, obviously, yeah, we wish we did because that's the real fun part, but we don't. Before we ever open up Illustrator, Photoshop, InDesign, before we choose colors, before we sketch logos, we are learning everything we can about your business. We have a really robust questionnaire that every client fills out before we start. And this is a really fun thing to get back from the clients because we learn so much about them, so much about their brand, so much about their business, so much about their history, why they built this business. It is so fun to read each and every one of these questionnaires. And we're asking things like, what are your goals? What do you want to be known for? What does your business aspire to become? Who is your audience? What brands inspire you? What feelings do you want your brand to create? Because we can't build a strategic brand without understanding the business deeply first. So that questionnaire is crucial because we need all of the things about your brand that we can possibly know from your point of view. And then the next thing that we get into is building out these Pinterest boards and kind of diving into the design brain side of things. So we move into these Pinterest boards, which is honestly one of my favorite parts. I think it's one of their favorite parts too, unless if they're overwhelmed by Pinterest, because Pinterest can be a beast. But typically it's a really fun part for them too. So we tell clients, pin literally anything and everything. Have fun. There are zero restrictions and not everything needs to match or make sense. We do this process to try to understand their quote unquote design brain. We want to know things like what textures are you drawn to? What typography styles do you like? What kind of energy are you going for? What are the emotions that you want people to feel when they interact with your brand? What are some of your favorite colors? Because all of that tells us something, right? All of that gives us directions on how you want your brand to feel, to be portrayed, to come to life. And again, we don't ever put guardrails or restrictions on that because some people have multiple different styles or aesthetics or feelings or emotions that they want their brand to portray. And we want to see all of that. And because this next phase that I'm going to get into is the phase where we can really bring some of those to life in different lights. So the next thing that our brand clients get are mood boards. We start to create mood boards based off of those Pinterest pins that they've pinned. We've already had a meeting with them on those pins. We talk through what they're liking. And I always like to ask two things that they don't like, because I'm not going to show them the color yellow if they absolutely cringe when it comes to the color yellow. And let's say, maybe their audience would like it, but we also have to play that fine line between you have to love your brand and you have to have your clients love your brand, right? We don't create brands for clients solely based on their audience. We want to make sure that you love it too, because if you don't love your brand, you're not going to be showing up in your brand. So we have to play both sides, right? We have to make sure that it's going to hit the right strokes for everybody and feel right for everybody. The audience side of it and you as the brand owner, as the business owner. So we take those pins and we create mood boards. I honestly love this because it gives clients an opportunity to see the possible creative directions before we fully commit to one. So it's kind of like a sneak peek at like, this is what your brand could look like. We're figuring things out, like what feels aligned, what feels elevated, what feels strategic, what feels emotionally connected to the brand. It's not just random design decisions happening in a vacuum here. They are very intentional, and we'll include some of these brand mood boards in the show notes for this episode, but you'll see that certain mood boards are working really, really well together. Now, if you looked at those mood boards and you tried to, we call it Frankenstein them, then things will start to fall apart. And we usually advise against doing this because those things in that mood board, when you see them, they work so great together for a reason. It's strategic, how fonts play a role, how colors play a role, how the way graphics are portrayed or built or created, and then even the photography style, all of that plays a role into that look and feel. And when we take elements from one board and mix them in the other, all of a sudden it could totally fall apart, because elements in one aren't necessarily going to work for elements in another. So we really try to advise against it. It happens sometimes, and sometimes it can work, but we're going to put our honest opinion forward and let our clients know, yes, this works, or no, this doesn't work. And we will explain for whatever reasons that it might not work, or even like it could be a happy accident or surprise. And we're like, yes, this does work. We can actually get this to kind of like fit together. So the mood board phase is a really, really fun phase. And I think it's a fun phase for our clients too, because they kind of get this like little wink at the different directions that their brand could come together. And then they choose that direction. And from there, we start to build out their actual brand. Another thing that we do is research. So obviously the questionnaire is part research. It's research on your end. It's getting to know your brand, your business, why it started, all of the things that you love, all of those things. But we also do research on the back end for us. We are looking at your competitors. We're looking at your industry, who inspires the client. We're looking at gaps in the market. We don't just make guesses here. And obviously, because we're a duo, even though my duo is not here with me, we're also thinking about SEO the entire time, because obviously it's what we do. Because things like accessibility, those matter. Searchability, that matters. User experience matters. We care about all of this when it comes to your brand. So we're always doing research when it comes to things like that. Color psychology. What do certain colors mean and how do they make your clients feel? Things like orange and pink, those are our colors. So we know that orange and pink make people feel excited. They're happy, energetic. They have some life to them, right? And we're talking like a brighter orange, brighter pink. We're not talking like a dull saturated orange or a terracotta, because that's going to have a much different feeling too. So I'm pretty sure we did an episode on color psychology. I don't have it up right now or know what it is exactly, but I will put it in the show notes here too, because color psychology is a really important thing too, to consider for your audience, for how it makes people feel, for accessibility reasons. So all of these things really come in at that research phase as we're starting to build out your brand as well. Branding is about feeling something, right? So one of the biggest misconceptions about branding is that it is just visuals. We talked about this a little bit earlier. You've heard us talk about it on the podcast multiple times in the past. And again, while yes, these visuals matter, building a brand strategically is really about that emotional connection. It's helping people, it's helping your audience feel something when they interact with your business, because people don't connect with hex codes and fonts. People aren't coming to your brand and saying, wow, I really like her colors. I want to work with her, or like her fonts are really beautiful, I'm going to hire her. They connect with our stories. They connect with our personality. They connect with the clarity and the emotion and the trust that your brand brings to them. They are connecting with you as a human being. You are the one that is the brand, right? But visually and strategically on paper, on screen, we're the ones that are telling that story. And that is so much more than anything DIY can give you. It's so much more than what Canva can give you, because it's a story. It's that emotion. It's that trust. It's bringing them in on a whole different level other than, wow, their brand is really cute. I like them. Your brand can be stunning, but if you don't have a story to tell and you don't have an emotional pull with that user, that client, whatever it might be, then you could potentially lose them, because your competitor could be just as pretty, just as glamorous, just as sophisticated, just as elevated, just as fun. But if they're telling a story and you're not, you are going to lose somebody to them, because they are doing that strategic back end of building their brand. They're bringing in those emotions, those feelings, all of those things. Which brings me on to storytelling. We talk about storytelling with our clients so often. We're not just asking them, what colors do you like? We're not just asking, what do you want to be known for? There's such a different conversation to be had when it comes to storytelling, because branding is storytelling. It's shaping how people perceive your business before they ever even work with you, right? What are things that you can tell your audience from a story perspective that's really going to connect with them emotionally? The next thing that I'm getting into is consistency. This is another huge thing that is a really big missed opportunity when it comes to DIY brands, because they tend to evolve really randomly over time. Suddenly your Instagram feels different from your website, which feels different from your PDFs, which feels different from your email marketing, which feels different from your actual, printed collateral, which feels different from your product packaging, whatever it might be. Strategic branding creates cohesion across every touch point, because consistency builds trust. We've talked about this so many times over and over again too, that if you don't have a consistent brand from one thing to the next, you are going to lose somebody, because somebody all of a sudden doesn't trust you, because things don't match, things don't align, things don't sound the same, things don't look the same, and they all of a sudden feel like if they don't have their brand and their shit together, excuse my language, then how can I trust that they are going to be the person for me, the expert for me, the right product for me, the right business for me? If you don't show up consistently and confidently in your brand, your audience is also going to be a little hesitant. If you're hesitant, if you look hesitant on the outside, on your website, on Instagram, your audience is also going to feel that too. So really making sure that we have that strong brand visually and strategically, and that it's consistent across every touch point within your business. The experience itself matters, right? Clients underestimate how valuable this actual experience is when somebody's on your website, when somebody's on your Instagram, when somebody's going from here to there, point A to point B to point C within your business. If that experience isn't hitting all of the marks, you are going to lose somebody. This is something that we really, really push with our clients, is that experience. How do you want people to experience your brand when they come to your website, when they come to your Instagram, when they work with you, when they inquire with you, when they talk to you over a Zoom call? We want to make sure that all of these things are being hit with their brands, with their brands, visuals, and strategy that we help build with them. So when we work with our clients, we're super collaborative, because we want to make sure that we're getting this right from an emotional perspective, a visual perspective, a strategic perspective. And we want them to feel amazing at the end of the day and super confident in their brand. And that's what we want for their followers, their users, their clients, all of those things as well. So our clients get really robust strategic timelines when we work with them. They get structure, they get accountability, they get feedback rounds, they get brainstorming support. I can't tell you how many times we've had even just like one-off brainstorms with clients on how we can make their brand the strongest it can be. They get really clear communication, they get research, they get literally all of us. And it's because we love this so much. We're so passionate about building strong strategic brands that they get every part of us, and they don't just get us building them a logo or a color palette or a typeset. They get literally our entire brain and the strategy and the excitement and everything that goes behind that, because we're super passionate about everything that we do for them. So we want to make sure that we bring them in for that experience as well. They get accountability. They get, we like to call it this kind of brand bestie energy, because again, we really care about this experience and we want them to feel supported. And then the deliverables go way deeper than just a logo. I think this is something that people really don't understand how much we actually give to our clients. So our clients are getting things like logo suites, brand patterns, typography systems, color systems, illustrations, mock-ups. We like to provide them mock-ups so they can actually see what their brand looks like in real life, because sometimes it's really hard for them to see all of those things to come together and what it could actually look like. So they get those mock-ups as well. They get guidelines. They get every file type imaginable. And if for some reason they didn't get a file type that we don't provide that's out there, we'll give it to them. And yes, every asset comes in all of the brand colors, because we are not about making clients struggle later. So every logo, every submark, every pattern, every illustration, they come in multiple different colors, because who knows, you might have to use pink today, orange tomorrow, green next week. So we really like to give our clients a plethora of tools that they can work with. And these are all custom assets. They are all fully custom illustrations, fully custom patterns. We used to go to Creative Market quite a lot, which we still love Creative Market. But now that we have Jamie on our team, our beloved illustrator, everything is fully custom for your brand. It's created from scratch, which makes your brand so much more unique and ownable. So that is something that we feel very, very passionate about, because it's not something that somebody else can go buy. They can't find it on Canva. They can't buy it at Creative Market. They would literally have to come buy Jamie from us, and we won't let you do that. I'm sorry. You have to work with us. And then another thing that we provide them are brand guides. At the end, clients get this beautiful strategic guide that shows them how to actually use their brand, because we don't want our clients leaving feeling overwhelmed. We want them leaving feeling empowered. It's a big part of what we do with our brand clients is empowerment, right? We want to make them feel really good about their brand and feeling confident enough to take it, empowered enough to use it, and go out in the world and run with it. We've had so many clients do such a great job at this. It's so fun to hand all of this off and be like, here you go. Like, you've got this, you've got all the tools. Your brand is beautiful. It's strategic. It feels so right for you, so right for your audience. And then they just feel so amazing and so clear and so confident. And then they take it and they run with it. And Abby and I on the outside, we're constantly Instagram DMing our brand clients and saying like, oh my gosh, look at how you use that pattern. Or, oh my gosh, I still love those illustrations. It's just so fun. So if you're a brand client listening to this, we've probably already been in your DMs multiple times saying things like this, but that's how we want you to feel. And we want to see you using those things out in the real world and be really jazzed about it, because we are super jazzed about it and we're super proud of you. So again, at the end of the day, they're not just leaving with a logo suite. They are leaving with clarity, confidence, strategy, momentum, consistency, and emotional connection. They're leaving with so much more than a logo, you guys. And honestly, a brand that finally feels like them. The biggest thing that we give our brand clients is that confidence. I would say, when we're talking to people on inquiry calls, a lot of the times I bring up the confidence part of it, because a lot of people, if they're questioning their brand, or they're like, I like this part and I like that part, but I don't know, they're lacking confidence. And that's what we're selling to you guys. That's the feeling, that's the emotion from a brand agency that we're selling for you. That confidence, that clarity, that excitement within your brand. See how that is so much stronger than our just Duo collective logo? That is what you get when you work with a brand agency or a brand expert over DIY branding. That's the biggest difference, you guys. DIY brands absolutely have a time and a place, but strategic brands help your business become recognizable, memorable, trusted, and again, scalable. And we really believe branding is more than just a pretty logo. It should really make somebody want to work with you, and it really should make you an unforgettable brand or unforgettable website or whatever it might be, when somebody finds you, if they remember you, then we're doing our job. And again, that is so much more than what just a DIY Canva logo can give somebody. So I hope you enjoyed this. It was really fun to kind of talk you a little bit through the process and what our brand clients get and what you might not see, because we don't necessarily always show it, right? But it is a really robust, fun, collaborative, emotional experience. And we bring our clients along the entire way, and it's super collaborative. So again, if you are a DIYer right now, we see you, we feel you. Everybody has to start somewhere. We're always cheering you on. But if you are at a phase where you've DIY'd your brand and all of this was resonating and clicking with you, then it might be time to consider a rebrand. So would love your thoughts on today's episode. And if you have any questions, leave them here in the show notes, or always DM us on Instagram. We love a good voice message on Instagram. And yeah, just let us know what you think. And if you feel like you're ready to step out of your DIY era, you know where to find us.
It's time for a refill. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Duo on Air.
If you loved hanging out with us today, here are 3 quick ways to support the show. 1, subscribe so you never miss a new episode.
2, share this episode with a biz bestie and tag us on Instagram at duo.collective.
And 3, leave a review because we love hearing from you.
Finally, keep sharing your episode ideas. We love creating content for you. Head over to duocollective.com to catch up on all the latest episodes, brand and website makeovers, SEO tips, and so much more.
See you there. Let's duo this thing called business together.